Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makar double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who rule and teach well, the Akims and the Iwas and Byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. And I've got a video I want to share quickly, but before I do that, and actually I'll show you the title of the video. Make sure my screen's being shared. The title of the video is called "They Want Your Children, State Preparing to Isolate Kids from Parents." Now, this brother here, his channel's called Ice Age Farmer. He normally does videos on food. He covers a lot of things to do with food. But I saw this video from him today and I thought it quite interesting, which I wanted to share. But before I do that, this is Psalms 94:20. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?" And this is what we understand with a lot of things that's going out today, that's happening today, is that many things are being framed through law. They're putting a lot of these things into law, so that when it comes for you to say no, it's not possible for you to do so. It's like it's not possible for you to do so. And this is something we're gonna have to put up with as time goes by, because we know that people have agendas, and one of the way for the system to get their agenda out is through framing it in law, making it law. Now this is Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." And a lot of these things are grievous. You're being forced to do things that you don't want to do, and it's being pushed as if it's for your benefit. Well, the one who, the best person to know what's for your benefit is you. And what they're trying to do is have everybody under a robot system where they are the controllers and you are the robot. And what they do, they put things in law which strips away your rights over time. And like Rahm Emanuel said, never make a crisis go to waste, because during a crisis you can implement things which you wouldn't normally be able to. And this is one of the things that's being done through this crisis. Things are being implemented, and a lot of it is being done in secret. They're not really telling you these things. So it says, Isaiah 10:1, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." And a lot of these laws that's being done in secret are grievous. Last scripture, this is Psalm 64, verse 2. It says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity." And like I said, a lot of these things are done in secret. It's only when they've implemented it and then they're trying to push it upon you and you try to fight it, you realize that these things are already put in law, so you can't do nothing about it. It says, "Who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not." And like I've said before, a lot of these things that are done are really done to affect the Israelites, those that are waking up, because as we wake up, that's when the Most High starts to work and he starts to bring this system down. This, and that's not me saying that, that's what the scripture prophesies. It's like the scripture prophesies that these things will happen, and we just speak about it. We haven't got it in our power to do anything, but we trust in the Most High that he's going to perform his words. It says, "They encourage themselves in an evil matter, they communed of laying snares privily." Yeah, all this is done in private. They say, "Who shall see them?" And they believe no one will see them. But as we know from the scriptures, the Most High sees all and is the judge that's going to be judging over the whole earth. And this is why we fear him. We're told by Yahushua, don't fear man that can afflict your soul, afflict the body, roughly paraphrasing, but rather fear him who can afflict the body and soul in hell. And that's the Father. So this is who we fear. So, I just want to play this video, show some of the secret counsel that these people do try to put in play. Now, like I said, the video is called "They Want Your Children. Stay Prepared to Isolate Kids from Parents," and you can go and watch it on the Brothers channel. It's called Ice Age Farmer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've all heard crazy state worshippers say things like, kids don't belong to their parents.
So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
Now, that would be fine if they stay in their homes with their crazy beliefs and left us alone, but of course, they don't do that. They are intent on administering a reality that corresponds with their beliefs upon the rest of us, particularly if they can do so under the guise of public health. And so, as we've seen rhetoric emerge from central UN, World Health Organization authorities about the need to enter into people's homes and take people from their families.
Due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
And what you have to remember, it said it's been taken off the streets and pushed into families. But then they were the one that told us not to go out and to stay indoors. So that's like a secret plan. This is always the intention.
A pretty stunning statement, but again, wouldn't be a big deal if this guy would just sit in his office in the UN and leave everyone else alone. We could just make fun of him. Unfortunately, there are a number of nations, states, municipalities, goes down to wherever people can get away with it, that are executing on the agenda that jerks like this are broadcasting. And so people were stunned to hear similar statements echoing from health officials in the days after this guy from Ventura, California.
We also realize that as we find more contacts, some of the people we find are going to have trouble being isolated. For instance, if they live in a home where there's only one bathroom and there are 3 or 4 other people living there, and those people don't have COVID infection, we're not going to be able to keep the person in that home. Every person who we're isolating, for instance, needs to have their own bathroom. And so we'll be moving people like this into other kinds of housing that we have available. They'll also have other needs, perhaps, food, whatever it's going to be. The county will be there to back them up and to support them.
And also from Broward County, Florida.
We have to go into family homes, like in some of these, when we're going into some of these homes, and we have to separate an individual to isolate them. They need, we need to make sure that they get care, that they have food, that they have support to be isolated from their home or their family for that 14-day period.
Now you may have noticed that both of these officials were kind of stumbling through their language there. And in fact, they both used an identical example that some of these isolated individuals, maybe they could use some other help like food, just for example. They both used that same word exactly because, ladies and gentlemen, they are reading from the same script that contains talking points from the World Health Organization, and then it's broadcast out to these municipal people to be read out to start to normalize the total top-down control that is currently being implemented under the guise of public health. And while Ventura County did have to have to clarify some of those claims the next couple of days when people said, you're out of your mind, you're not coming anywhere near my house or my children. So they did have to issue a clarification statement about that. But it doesn't really matter because the whole agenda continues to roll forward. The CDC in the days thereafter still issued new training materials which indicated the same thing, that individuals, especially children, would need to be quarantined away from their parents in the event that someone was diagnosed positive with some of those faulty tests. And still, yet even more, when the state of Washington started hiring daycare workers, started posting ads, you see down here, for people to come take care of children who are COVID positive or who are exposed to COVID-19, which means their parents were exposed, and so now we've taken them as the CDC is recommending. So, ladies and gentlemen, as it feels like things are calming down, like we're moving the right way directionally, the fear is subsiding. Why is this still rolling out right now, where we're still hiring people to be watching children who are being quarantined away from their parents, where the CDC is still issuing fresh guidance about this? What has to happen for these preparations to make sense? It caught my eye when Fauci and Rand Paul were talking about reopening, and Fauci made some interesting statements.
We don't know everything about this virus, and we really better be very careful, particularly when it comes to children.
Was that a threat?
Because the more and more we learn, we're seeing things about what this virus can do that we didn't see from the studies in China or in Europe. For example, right now, children presenting with COVID-19 who actually have a very strange inflammatory syndrome, very similar to Kawasaki's syndrome. I think we better be careful if we are not cavalier in thinking that children are completely immune to the deleterious effects.
Now, whether Fauci is actually suggesting that there will be a second recurrence, pandemic 2, as Bill Gates calls it openly, that will affect children in a disproportionately severe way, that would actually necessitate separating them from their parents. Some of the language we've read today would no longer seem as extreme. We can leave that in the realm of high-octane speculation. We can't really say what they have in store for us. I don't even know that they need a biological agent to achieve that kind of thing. We've seen pretty clearly at this point that all the nanny state needs to take total control is to brainwash their cult of fear. And that's just completely effective. It's stunning. It's disappointing. But one thing we can say is that it would not be the first time that the state has abused its ability to take children from their parents, especially in the context of eliminating political dissidents. In fact, in the Argentinian Dirty War, there were hundreds of children that were taken from the opposition leaders in order to silence them, to get them to stop fighting the government. It's the fastest, one of the most effective ways to silence your political opposition. Either kill them off or take their children. These are the things that hopefully we will never see any of that in the United States. Oh, actually, it's already happened. Governor Kate Brown from Oregon wasted no time in enlisting the support of CPS, Child Protective Services, to help send a strong message to the salon owner who opened her business just last week. When she opened up, her kids were met with a CPS worker in their home who separated the children from their parents and then proceeded to interrogate them. This is a nightmare for any parent, to have the state come and forcibly take someone's child and talk to them without your knowledge. This is disgusting. Governor Brown needs to be removed. So does Inslee. So does Newsom. So does Cuomo. All of these people are absolutely openly tyrants at this point, and we cannot tolerate this, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of this has already been talked about out there. But if, by virtue of this video, there is any child who is kept out of the hands of the state and with their parents where they need to be, then it's absolutely worth having this conversation today. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not like the way that these signs indicate we're going. And that's why we had to talk about it today. Thanks for watching. Please spread the word. If your friends or parents are in, especially one of these states with a very blue governor who seems to be yielding completely to the demands of the totalitarian technocrats, be warned.
Yeah, so that was the video. I thought it was very interesting. You know, a lot of this is going on in the Americas, but we know that these things will be rolled out all over the kingdom at some point. Psalms 10 in verse 4, it says, "The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts." And it's because of pride why a lot of these things happen, you know. People think that they're above the Most High because the Most High isn't sending judgment at this moment in time. You know, pride seeps through. So it says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved, but I shall never be in adversity. And this is where the pride comes in. Like I said, because the Most High isn't sending judgment as he should, pride steps in and believe that, they will get away with what's being done. It says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Now, this scripture here, this is Psalms 11, verse 2, says, for lo, the wicked bend their bow, they make ready their arrow upon the string, that they may privily shoot at the upright in heart. And like I said, a lot of these things that are happening really is to affect the Israelites, because as we rise, the Most High rises. As we wake up, I should say, the Most High rises and he starts to do his work. We know, when it comes to kingdom, no kingdom has lasted because it's been evil. And this kingdom runs the same way. It doesn't seek after the Most High. And therefore, it will not last. And, we can prove all of this through the scriptures. So with that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash, Kwam Yasha Allah.